This is what I asked him. The term bodyguard means professional, trained, or untrained. That aggregate group said that 1%, only 5 people out of 500 said they referred to the word bodyguard as professional. Only 25 said they view it as training, just the term. And 470 said untrained. That's just by using that term as yourself. So if you call yourself that, most of the people are going to think that you're this. They're going to think that you're untrained and unprofessional. Just by the term, I'm a bodyguard. You get noticed by the decision maker. I need to know what that person on the other side of the desk, what Farron's thinking, what Paul's thinking, what Elijah's thinking on the other side of the desk to get selected. It's one thing to sit in front of the person and get noticed. That does you nothing. Getting selected is the other part. And since Josh sat up, one of the things we got into right to the point where he was in the selection process is how he handled an interview. How he handled an interview. We had lengthy conversations on getting him to think a certain way. So I make sure that I surround my people by the people who have the same, at least, mindset that I can mold into that personality. There's a gentleman here that he didn't know that when I looked at his stuff, he had already followed the 4P process. So I'm not going to take credit for that. But what I will do is take credit for the fact that I recognized it. Because that's the measuring tool that I use. And since last year, he's been working full time for me. Working full time for me. And I may say it more comfortably. Do that again. I'll say it again. I got my ass handed to me a couple years ago when I started talking about this in this industry. People, I don't have the responsibility when people go to my school. Actually, when they walk in the door, you have all the responsibility. You have all the responsibility. Second part of your thing, I've never competed against anybody. And that's not chest thumping or sitting around, but I've never had to compete against anybody for any contract I've ever had or relationship, because 95% of all my contracts have come from relationships with other clients. So there's no competition. You need to use Eric. You need to use Eric. So I don't have time to police who's around me. So what I did was, you know what, one of the ways to do this, we set a standard. That's one way of doing it. But you know, that's not good enough. Let me squeeze it from the top. So that the people who are hiring these people, by virtue of their insurance, and say, if you got somebody does not fulfill this standard, we're not going to insure you if you get hurt. Good answer? So the difference between a man, a pig, and a horse is the man's ability to think. Misty touched on that today. The people who are successful in the world are people who have been able to use their power of thinking and plug it into something.